What's up YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. My name's Keelan, and before we jump into the book cover time lapse, I just wanted to explain a little bit about what it is. So I am a book cover designer. I had no plans to show my process or do a time lapse on this YouTube, but then someone posted a comment on my latest day in the life vlog asking if I could, and I was like, you know what? Why not? Let's go. Let's do it. So I decided, instead of showing you how I design a custom cover for a client, that I would actually do a little bit of an Instagram challenge. So I posed 5 questions to Instagram, and basically they decided on the theme and the colors and all of that of this cover, and then I went ahead and designed it. So the first question I asked was what they wanted the main color to be. The answer was blue. The second question was what the accent color would be. The answer was gold. The third question was about kind of the theme or the object on the cover. The answer was a vial. The fourth question was what genre this cover was going to be for. Epic and dark fantasy tied. I definitely leaned more towards epic fantasy. It's not actually dark at all, but epic and fantasy tied, so I feel like I got to pick that one. And then the fifth question was what kind of mythical creature they kind of wanted the cover to be themed around. So those were the 5 questions. I did a poll on my Instagram story. And I mean, if you want to participate in a future poll like that, follow me on Instagram. But that is what led to the design of this book cover, which is now up for sale on my website as a pre-made book cover. But that is how we got to this. And now let's just jump right into the time lapse. I didn't want to spend too much time talking. All right, here we go, into the cover design. The first thing I do when designing a book cover is open a new Photoshop file and then take a look at the stock images available. Now, had I had more information on what an author wanted for a particular cover, then I can really target what I'm going to do and come up with a vision beforehand. Sometimes I even put a sketch together, but this is my version of a sketch right now. Since this is a pre-made book cover and all I really had to go on was what my Instagram followers prompted me to use, I was really doing a lot of trial and error here to see what would look good and what might not look good. At this point in the process, I'm either downloading kind of the trial version of the stock image that is watermarked, or I'm using stock images that I already have in my existing library. I have probably 500 to 1,000 stock images that I already own, so I'll go through those first, and then I'll look for any new ones. You'll see throughout this video that I use 2 different sites for stock images. One is Shutterstock and the other is Deposit Photos. So as I mentioned, when getting started with this cover, I wasn't really sure what vibe I was going to go for. So I started to think, well, what if there was a devil hand holding the vial full of angel dust or something like that? So that was kind of my initial vision. And it was what I was going for at the beginning at this point in the design. I love old frames, Baroque frames on book covers. I think it just makes everything look so elegant. I like to fade them into the background, but I do use them quite often. You'll also see me during this process checking back and forth between this design and my website. It's just to make sure that, the cover is kind of up to the style and quality that I'd like to adhere to. And also I get inspiration from other covers, and I guess the first ones that I look at are mine. So I definitely go back to my website while I'm designing to take a look at potential inspirations. At this point, I'm settled on the vial, which is really interesting because it was the first stock image I downloaded of a vial, and I really liked it. And normally, if I'm doing something with an object cover, the object changes at least 3 or 4 times before I settle on one that I really like. But this one just happened to be great from the get-go. Another big part of my cover design process is actually coming up with a title for the novel that I'm working on if it is a pre-made cover. If it's a custom cover, obviously the author sends me their title. But for a pre-made cover, the title really provides a source of inspiration and helps me stay on theme when designing the pre-made. Now, because I had asked my Instagram followers what they wanted the theme to be, and they said kind of angels and demons with a vial on the cover, I decided to go obviously the more angelic route and thought how cool would it be if the vial had a halo trapped inside it. So that is where this title came from, to trap a halo, but you'll see eventually I do end up changing the title. I just thought it suited the book and the space better. I do spend a lot of time at the end of the design process just fixing little things like color, the title, the different effects, the different shading. I'm really into this more washed out kind of color look lately. So you'll see that I do bring the vibrancy and the saturation of this cover down from what it was at the beginning. If you skip back to the beginning of this time lapse, you'll notice it's a lot brighter, but it's because I kind of like those, I'm really into those like muted, subtle colors with little flashes of gold or flashes of silver or really bright glowy parts, but in general kind of like a more unsaturated look. I'm not sure why I'm super into that lately, but it is something that I'm really enjoying. So at this point in the design process, I'm just finalizing the cover, putting the last details in, the lighting, the shading, making sure that everything looks good, making sure the title's in its proper place, and making sure that the author name does stand out, but it does not overpower the title. That's a big thing that sometimes happens, and I like my titles big, bold, and bright. Thanks so much for watching this video, everyone. If you enjoyed it, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up and let me know down in the comments below whether you think this cover met the brief that I guess Instagram gave me. So let me know down in the comments below. Would really appreciate it. And thanks so much. Bye.